It has been a while. We'll start off that way.
It's been a long while. Hi.
It's been a long while. So, I don't know if you realize what's been going on, but like we started doing this in 2022, back at the beginning of 2022, and in that time, every episode has come out or whatever that we could have, and then I moved them all over to YouTube this year in 2024. So starting at the beginning of 2024 until right now, the most recent episode, episode 39 for chapter 41 came out this last Monday. So like a week ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's weird because for YouTube, no time has been lost because this is going to come out at the exact same time. For us, it's been 2 years.
It's been so long, dude.
It's weird.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's weird. So, and it's also weird because there were gaps in between here and there, like with Nathan and whatever. And even in those gaps, I specifically mentioned, like, don't even mention that, like, we took a week off or any of that stuff because of the backlog or whatever. It wouldn't make sense. This is kind of breaking the fourth wall for the first time in the show or whatever, because it has been so long that I thought it was worth saying how long it's been.
Yeah. Well, especially for me, too. Like, when was the last time I was on?
The golden age arc.
Because, like, shit just went sideways.
Yeah, and scheduling became a nightmare.
I just couldn't. Even for this, I was like, I'm locked in. I don't actually know if I'm locked in.
Sure. Yeah, no, like, life gets in the way. I haven't even talked to Nathan in, like, the better part of 6 months. So, because he's doing whatever. So, like, no, it's weird. Like, and I just the reason I wanted to mention is because if I was listening to something, there's like a group of people that are actually listening to them. It kind of took on a new life on YouTube every week. And it would be cool, like, for me, if I was listening to something every week, to just, like, know that even though this was, like, my normal routine, this is actually really fucking odd for the people doing it.
Yeah, dude, totally. Oh, and it's such a long time. Like, if it were a couple months or something even, that'd be different, but, like, it's been an insane amount of time.
It has been a very, very long time. So, yeah, I just wanted to put it out there that it's been crazy. You haven't been around for a long time either doing this.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you wanted to quickly just touch on that, like, is worth talking about in the, like, that you wouldn't have been a part of? Like, a lot happens, but there's, like, some big stuff that if there was anything you wanted to, like, put 2 cents in.
Did you guys mention the length of the boat arc in real time? Did that come up?
Yes, it did, because
it was
on
like
13 years or something. It was so crazy.
Fucking long.
Yeah, the reason why it came up was because I remember specifically saying that I love that doing it this way, like, for us, it was like 2 weeks or something.
Dude, totally. Yeah, it's just over, and you're like, yeah, that was fine. People are trapped in hell.
When you see the release dates, it's like, oh, this is a nightmare. This is
people
awful.
Were so fucking done with boat arc.
Yeah, and there's, like, not that much of it, realistically, but it's because of the time in between, for sure.
Yeah. I think the only other thing, like, even just reading through this chapter, I was thinking to myself the whole fucking time. I made those comments. I think after we got to Eclipse Arc was when I brought it up the first time. But, like, the stuff with water, dude, it's always water.
Yeah.
Like, even at the end of volume 41 where Griffith is, like, standing in the pool or whatever, like, it's always water, and we get into some of that here too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just like a funny how consistent that is.
I think we'd be remiss to not quickly talk about just the ending of 41.
Yeah,
mainly
absolutely.
because 41 was the last thing that Mira put pen to paper himself.
Yes.
So like it's kind of the issue or whatever, the volume, the last one that he's ever done. And it's really, really bittersweet in the way it ends.
Dude, that fucking ending. Like, there was, I think not surprisingly, like, there was quite a few people I was seeing online who are like, yeah, I think I'm just done. Or like, if they're not done, they're like, this is the end of like real Berserk for me. And anything else is just like, it's nice, it's interesting, but like, it's not true for me. And I'm like, normally I wouldn't tolerate it so nicely, but like just the way it fucking ends, I'm like, man, that's justifiable, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a kind of perfect. If you're not going to get the ending, like that's the place to fuck it. Like, imagine if you ended on this, on 42, right?
Oh.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a shame. Like, if you wanted to stop, definitely like where Mira's done, that's the time for sure.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't really have an ending, but it also has like kind of one that is just basically a weird, cynical, like everything is cyclical sort of like.
You could. Yeah. It's like the perfect like build your own ending sort of deal. Like it opens the imagination to any direction.
Yeah.
Like you could take it in whatever way you want from there, I think.
Sure. Yeah. 41 is such a crazy volume. Because I mean the most important thing ever happens between 40 and 41 where Casca is back.
Yes.
And like there's like when we talk about 42, there's a reason why I'm talking about this specifically, because it was such like a release, right? It was like letting go finally of like a breath you've been holding for 20 years.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It's rough. Casca hasn't, since the eclipse, she's been just this like shell, like automaton human that barely is there.
Yeah.
And it's fucking sad. So it's weird because like Casca was like easily one of my favorite characters back then. Then all that shit happens to her and her mind breaks and it's tragedy. It's the worst thing. But then it turns into just the most annoying thing. She's just like the most annoying character because she's just like a dumb child getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that like this happens and she's back, there's even like the one panel of her like Shirke sees like her odd or whatever and it's like on fire and there's just like an intensity to her. It's like, oh god, she is back. It's so fucking awesome. There's like that little sparring thing she does with Isidro. It's great. Like all of it is so great. So we'll get into specifics, but what they do in 42 made me want to rip my fucking hair out. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah. It's so fucking mean.
It's so bad. Yeah. So yeah, the way 41 kind of ends off with the Moonlight Boy turning into Griffith and then with like a single tear on his face. And that's kind of like the last panel of that.
Yes.
So first of all, what the fuck? It's so odd because, so does that mean first of all that the weird, what's the name of it? The weird like fetus that just like the shitty fetus or whatever, was that just like a Griffith egg essentially?
Dude, I have gone and looked so many fucking times and it's like, it's not like explicitly stated, I think, because like you have that fetus which comes from Griffith, right? Like that's his seed and Casca's, and that gets taken into the egg of the world or whatever, that rebirths the world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like some sort of we don't get anything about how they're like tied together, but like it's it's fucking something, I guess.
But well, because there was precedence for it, right? So Femto was reborn in the second eclipse with Malzgus and all of that bullshit going on. So like we've seen before that like Griffith, or the essence of Griffith, whatever the fuck it is, has like the ability to kind of rebirth itself. So like it makes sense in what they've set up that like it could be like a Griffith clone or egg or rebirthing of or whatever. And then it also like opens up this thing of, if there's another version of it, is this like a good version of Griffith or something? Or like, is there anything different? Or I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of weird questions that opens up that kind of don't matter, because the most important thing is, and this is what we start off with, is that Griffith is a god. And I guess like I kind of always forget that. Seen I was going to say Berserk. Seeing Guts, Mr. Berserk himself.
Seeing Mr. Berserk.
Tried to like attack him, and he doesn't like so much as even graze him at all, even though he's given it his all. It's like, oh, Guts right can't actually, he can't kill him. Like there's no way.
Yeah. Which has kind of been, I mean, that's sort of been like the thing for a while, right? Like,
yeah, he's been a
how is
like,
he gonna
literal god.
How is he gonna fucking hit him? And it's like, you know, in your heart it's gonna be with a sword, but like there's a lot that has to happen apparently before we can get to that point.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's gonna go on with that, but it's like the most hopeless I think that this series has been for a while. Because Guts, like, keeps getting into trouble, or they have, like, weird, as Nathan kind of put it, like, side quests or whatever. Like, oh, this is, like, the side expansion pack with the new mermaid class unlock, and this is, like, this little island that kind of doesn't really matter. But, like, he's had kind of side shit going on, and sometimes it's real bad, like fighting, like, an ancient god or whatever in the sea. But he still is able to somehow do it because he's Mr. Berserk. And you kind of know it's going to be okay. But this is the first time that it's just like, oh, he actually just can't do this.
Yeah. And I mean, we get like, you know, that comes up later in the volume, right? Like that's a whole thing. But that's like, I mean, it's such a, that whole element is, I think, really interesting, because that's like the whole deal of the series, right? Is that he is the struggler.
And the thing
just
is
like
that he hasn't struggled he hasn't struggled enough in the last like 30 volumes or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that Griffith is still the big bad, because I think when you see that Guts is taking on like a whole bunch of other shit along the way, it like not easily, but like he still is able or capable to do so, especially with his berserk armor. That seeing that like even fully ready to go, he can't do shit is like, okay, that's probably the correct path to take, but also it's very depressing.
Yeah.
It's real bad. I don't really feel like he goes berserk enough, though, even. There's a lot of yelling, but...
Yeah, he doesn't... I mean, he doesn't really use the armor or anything, right?
Yeah, like he's holding him back. Or Shirki's holding him back, maybe? I don't remember. But he's not fully in.
I think he just wasn't utilizing it. I don't think it was like he was holding back. It just seemed like he didn't flip the switch or whatever. Like he didn't, I mean, certainly he wasn't in the full thing, right? Like his face was uncovered and all of that. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, and then he gets stopped, right? Because Griffith like embraces Casca, and he like, what's he gonna fucking do? Just not hurt Griffith and also cut Casca? Like, no way. So his hand is forced.
Yeah, and there's like, in the meantime, also there's something else going on with I couldn't tell who it was. Shirke's in like the ethereal world or whatever, and there's like somebody there. Is that just like the representation of Griffith?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, it's my understanding is that that's just Griffith, and like they call him a Maelstrom. And
yeah,
there's like this. We get a brief line about like, oh, an actual Maelstrom. So like this is a thing that people of that caliber know of. So I guess it's just what it seems like is that he's just such a fucking force in that world that you can't fucking get near it. Like,
sure,
this is an aberration that we need to stay away from, or we're gonna get sucked in, and it's real bad.
Sure,
because
like that makes sense.
And at like the same time, we're getting the stuff with like his presence alone on the island is like fucking everything up, right? Like the safe haven is no longer safe.
Yeah, I kind of didn't understand what it was that he does in particular. So like at some point Zod also shows up because of course he does.
Yeah.
And like there's some fighting going on, but the big thing that happens is that Griffith picks up Casca and kind of takes her away because the whole elf island just starts shattering from I think what it is the like dark spirits or the shadow spirits or whatever that make up the base of the island, which they kind of showed in an earlier volume that like they're dormant and they get along with like the inhabitants here. I think they get all riled up and just start tearing the island apart basically.
Yeah, like this sort of, I don't want to say ancient evil, but we get fucking Skull Knight coming in, right? And he has his fucking line. Dude, every time like he appears on the page and I just hear guitars in my head. Like, it's so fucking cool every time. And his lines so cool are just always good.
And the way they like draw his speech and everything just being almost like a booming, like, I don't know, voice in like your psyche or something.
Yeah. Oh, great. Totally. Dude, like, he's so fucking cool still.
He's so cool. And this, I think, is this the first time a bunch of them see him? Because he kind of pulls up to Isidro and Isma. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, who is he or whatever? And it's like, oh, yeah. I guess Guts is the only one who's actually talked to this dude in the group.
I think others have maybe, like, seen him, but it's never... I don't think it's been, like, the group. It's, like, maybe a couple of them or whatever.
Well, like, the people that know him, so... Shirke's mistress, I can't remember her name. Flora, maybe? Something like that. Way too long. Like, they knew each other in a previous life, and he's friends with, like, the elf Danan, the elf queen, and all this stuff. But, like, the normal group people, I don't think have ever interacted with him. I don't know that they've ever even seen him.
I don't think so, yeah. Or if they have, it's, like... in the distance, it's not up close or whatever. Like, he's involved and they maybe see him, but not close. I don't think. Certainly not fucking like talking to him.
No, definitely never talked to him. It just seemed weird to me because Isma says like he's an ally of justice. It's like, how the fuck do you know that?
I mean, yeah, like maybe seeing like his aura or something, or like if he's friends with the, I don't know.
See him like cut down a bunch of evil spirits that are like surrounding them. Maybe
I think he's good.
Yeah, that's true. Generally, if like there's this almost like storm of shit around you that's trying to kill you, and one dude's able to like cut them all away from your group, it's like, okay, I'm gonna trust that dude, I guess. Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, he has the line about like the foundation of the island, right? Like that the island is really the dark spirits or something, and they've been borrowing it.
Yeah, because I don't remember what volume it was. It might have even been like 3 or 4 back now when they first arrived at the island. there was a thing where like wasn't one of the tests for Shirke is like you're supposed to like do something with one of the spirits or whatever, and she like kind of gives it an apple or makes it like friendly. It's like and so there's this weird thing that's like, is it just these are ancient beings and they don't really have a morality and Griffith had turned them, or is it that they were dormant before and he like awoke in them and that's what's kind of causing it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't really think we know enough to say at this point.
Are they midi-chlorians? That's the question.
Midi-chlorians?
Like they might be though, right? Like they legitimately might be like the force of this world, essentially.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the elf queen starts fucking talking about like blood tests and elven purity or whatever.
Oh god, yeah. But like, so the island being destroyed also is kind of a big deal because it kills a lot of like creatures, right? Like, don't they, like the magical creatures are just gone now, essentially? They like immediately start having problems. And we get, I mean, I guess it's kind of, there's like a bit of a timeline here, but like we know some of them just get got, I guess. Something happens to them. Some of them, we get the line of like, I guess that's a bit later, but like the witches that were on the island are like losing their power now, which I think to me, the comparison I made hearing that is sort of like it's maybe like a Zuko situation, because Shirke isn't losing her power, but it seems like her power is coming from a different place, right? But for these witches, they were on the island like drawing power from it, and now it's gone, and they're like, well, fuck. Yeah, they didn't know how to like.
So they got to
actually do magic, really.
Yeah, that, or I guess maybe like they just need a different place to. They need like to learn of a different place or something.
Like if they went or something.
Yeah, like just like plug in the Ethernet cable into a different router or something like that. Yeah, no, something like that. And it makes sense because Shirky kind of like learned magic from an exile. So she didn't have like this easy well to tap from. She had to kind of learn how to pull the most out of just everything in life, where they were given a fire hose essentially of magic that they could spray everywhere. I guess that also makes sense why when she came on the island, it's like, oh, it's easy to do magic here. It's like, and they were, I think there was also like the test that she was supposed to do. I think it's a test for like the witches there, and then she just like does it super fucking easily, is like everything she does.
Yeah.
I think we get a line from someone at some point who's like, well, yeah, she's been like testing her shit in life or death situations.
Yes, so she needs exactly.
to be good.
I think that was like their guru or whatever. The one that was teaching them was like, yeah, it makes sense that why she's better than you, because if she's not better than you, she's fucking dead. She's not. Yeah. So like, of course. Like, you're all just like hanging around and giving apples to spirits, and she's creating giant force fields to stop a troll army from murdering them. Like, there's a little bit of a difference.
And like fucking pulling the chosen one from the brink of death like every other day.
It is kind of crazy how I keep wanting to say Mr. Berserk because I fucked up at the beginning, and now the meme has actually ruined my mind. Guts, like Guts's best weapon actually is her, because there have been many times where he should be dead.
Dude, 100%. Well, and we get that. I think because like a huge part of this is like history sort of repeating itself, right? Like the manga as a whole, like these events that happen and cyclical, I guess, events. Yeah. And we get the setup that like Shirke's master, mistress, whoever, and like Skull Knight kind of had the same relationship that Shirke and Mr. Berserk himself have.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. She she used to try to like rein him in, but Skull King, whatever, went a little too berserk.
Yeah, like he gave. I mean, I guess we'll see that a little bit. Well, I mean, we've had that before, right? Like the berserker armor, like it's basically a literal.
That's in the volume
concept.
before this. They actually explain like all of that, and Guts finally catches on. Oh, Skull Knight is me, even though like everybody else knew.
Dude, it's like it's so fucking obvious.
Yeah,
but like that's been I mean, even before he knew, that's been like the constant temptation, right? Is like
to fully give in.
Use the power, baby. Come on.
Yeah,
you can get everything you want. You just have to give yourself over to me.
Yeah. And for Skull Knight, it was to save the Elf Queen or whatever, that they kind of visit her burial site down there. And I think that's also when I don't remember his name. I was going to say the Godo, but Godo was the human blacksmith, the dwarf blacksmith that made the armor. They meet up with him.
His name.
He gives it a whack and to show the memories of the armor. And there's like, it's like the exact same thing. There's the God Hand with some God Hand members we haven't seen ever before. And they obviously are doing the thing that turned Skull Knight into what he was as he was trying to like fight back or whatever. Like, yeah, it's bad. It's a lot of bad shit that he has in that armor. And there's obviously going to be more temptations. I think even in this chapter, there's like a little bit of one, but going forward, I think there's going to be that like moment of, does he give in fully? Because if he does, he could probably maybe meet Griffith head on, or does he like not do that and realize that like maybe it's for the best to not completely lose yourself just for revenge or something. Like there's going to be that moment that part of me almost wants him to give in. I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is like the new Hook almost, right? Like, is he going to give in? Like, that's kind of the back force behind this in a way.
For sure.
And I mean, that's kind of been the I guess a related theme, but like we've seen various other themes come and resolve a little bit, like him realizing that like, oh, he has kind of a group of people he cares about again and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the big one is, am I going to put, which has come up before, am I going to put the revenge over just fucking being with Casca? Can I do that physically? We don't know what the answer is. Like, it might be fucking no.
Yeah, because like there was a moment a while back in volumes where he made the decision like, I can't give myself fully over to the thing because it'll mean like probably even killing Casca. Like he's uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And yeah, like obviously it's just not worth it or whatever. But now that he lost Casca again, there's like that heartbreaking, it's the worst. So there's like that last scene of Griffith kind of flying up in the sky, going into like the sky tree thing, which we haven't really talked about, but there's no reason to. It's just like their teleport thing in this world.
Fucking wormholes or whatever.
Wormholes. That's
ether
the best
portals
way.
Or something.
Yeah. Because for some reason they started going Nordic fantasy as well. Weirdly.
Yeah, why not rip a little... I mean, it's just all an Elden Ring ripoff is the...
Honestly, yes, it is. That's all it is. But there's like that scene of him just like on the ground or whatever with everything falling apart and like Casca being carried away and just his face. It's like that's the face of a man that is going to give himself over to the armor.
Yeah. And it's also like super interesting because I think previously we've seen a lot of anger and he's like depressed. Like
it's been a while since we've seen him sad.
Yeah, sad Burke.
Like when well,
I mean, the big one is always that first chapter, right?
Yeah,
like the
where
very
he's like
first one.
Whatever.
Yeah, he's like, see if I care or whatever. And then the next panel is like sad guts.
Yeah.
So
I guess also when he realized that he can't like actually see her or talk with her without her like having a PTSD trigger.
That's true. Yeah.
That was just like a volume ago, and that face there is pretty heart wrenching too,
dude. I mean, even in, well, yeah, no, you know what? It would have been last chapter as well. Like when he's kind of with the kid, we get like a few panels of fucking happiness,
just for it to be torn away. Yeah.
Yeah. When he's with the kid and like everybody else is walking past, and he like tells the kid like, "No, go be with them. Like, I know you want to. It's fine. Go chill." But
yeah.
Like, fuck.
There's also
so
like
sad.
they say like, come talk to Casca or whatever, and he says, no, she's happy, that'll do for now, or he says something along those lines. It's just like, this motherfucker, even when he wins, he's sacrificing.
Yeah,
like
dude.
He is never not sacrificing himself in some way. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, rough. And now he lost her again. Well, they lost her, but like
I
he
hate
lost
it so
her.
much.
It's fucking worse. It's so bad. Yeah. That's kind of like the big thing so far for this chapter, like for this group. They get on the ship because everything's falling apart, and he just literally crumbles. He's in the hold by himself. His sword drops, and he also drops, just like crying and depressed. He's just done. And that's kind of like
they said they carried him there. He didn't even fucking walk to the ship.
Yeah, he's done. He just like wants to die or whatever. I think like one of the only things he even says is like, it was all for nothing. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking horrible.
Well, and we get the I mean, dude, it's like gut wrenching.
It's
because
bad.
like he's been, like I said before, he is the fucking struggler. Like
he is
been
Mr. Berserk
this whole time. He is berserking, and like he says the bit, and we get some of the different like the collage of scenes. He's like, the only thing I believed in was you, and it was like his sword. And like we see all the different scenes of his sword, and he like lets his sword, like the Dragon Slayer, clatter, right, and just like fall, and it's like, fuck. Because it's true, and that's even like what his dream was, right? Like the sparks of the sword and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And like now that if that can't get him to his goal, then what? Like that he has a sword.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's, and just like the memory stuff too. It's that whole, everything to do with Guts right now is really bad. But of course, this is also when his suit starts like taking its demon dog form and trying to like goad him, like, hey, I can give you power. We can do it or whatever. And that's kind of where they leave off with him.
Give your flesh and soul to me.
Yeah.
And then Shirka is like kind of going to, well, because she's trying to find where Casca is, right? Well, and or no,
yeah, she's like going into the other plane, just like looking around or something.
Yeah, I forget if this is before that or in the early stages of that, but she sees Guts' memories and the memories that are contained in the sword, and it's just like all of the horrific bullshit that they've dealt with. Like, there's just a page of like the fucking horse is at the bottom, and I'm like, God.
Oh, that fucking horse.
It's all just fucked.
Yeah, it's that moment that like if this was animated or like a movie or something, it would be kind of like maybe calm, quiet in the ship, like maybe the rocking of the boat and creaking, people talking or whatever. And then like she goes into the ethereal plane. It goes like silent, maybe even kind of nice sounding. Goes like to Guts' sword, and then it just starts going like screams of like pain and like just horrific sounds. It's that moment. Yeah. Shirke should never go into Guts' psyche. He's actually seen way too much.
Dude, it's fucked up.
It's way
How to
too
break
bad.
your own mind 101.
It's way too bad. So everybody's on the boat that survived or is around, including Morda, the kind of playful, like, teenage witch or something that starts up a kind of fun little friendly rivalry, not rivalry necessarily, but like friendship or whatever with Shirke before everything went to hell. So she's obviously like the new party member because they gave her a name and she looks different. So like it's obvious.
Yeah.
But she's here too, and they're like healing whoever is on the ship and survived, and Guts is crying in the back. But it kind of cuts away from them and
he was in like the hold or whatever by him. Like he's just by himself in the dark.
He's done. Yeah, he's done. And then it cuts away from them completely to go to Falconia, where Sonia is on like a pier or whatever, awaiting the rearrival of Griffith, because Sonia is crazy, and even though she's a child, is in such in like love with Griffith. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And Griffith and them return with Casca, and the next scene we get is Casca waking up in like a bed, like a palace bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's immediately it's just like, oh
by
no.
Servants. Yeah. And they're all calling her Milady.
Yeah,
picking out
they
her
bathe
clothes
her.
And
dude, Casca cannot be in any fucking scene without her boobs being out. Like, this series is obsessed with drawing her naked.
Well, maybe she wasn't so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Also,
I
don't know if it's just me, but I went back and kind of looked at some early volumes, just kind of like, not really reread, but kind of went through and looked at some pictures and stuff, kind of remembering what it used to look like, because the art style's kind of changed, and I wanted to see how much it's changed from Miura's style to now or whatever. Casca used to be a fucking bodybuilder, muscle-bound woman, and she is not anymore. And I wonder if that was a decision they made to maybe make her more animated up, or if it's because as Elaine, she spent years not being a fighter and building muscle the same way. Like, part of me wants to believe the latter, where it's just like, well, of course, she's been like bedbound, essentially. She's useless. She wouldn't have muscles anymore. She was just barely surviving. Whereas before she was like in the battlefield or whatever. They even make a mention of like when she's like doing the sword thing, she's like, it's rusty or whatever, and the sword feels heavy. It's like, because you probably haven't held one for fucking like 5 years or something, like however long it's been.
Oh, dude, totally. That
so
shit leaves so
believe,
fast.
Yeah, I want to believe it's on purpose that she's made more like slender and like waifu-ish, and not just some weird like, well, this is how like women in anime look. So that's my headcanon.
I think there's like, I think it's kind of both. I mean, I think there probably is a conscious decision to make her more slender and less muscly and all that stuff.
Because she is less muscly.
Yeah.
I went back and did the like scene or whatever in the cave, and it's just like, damn. Like,
dude.
She looks small because Guts is like huge. But like that's an unrealistic amount of muscle.
Like, these are
crazy.
Honestly, that's what every female character should be. Like, just make unrealistic body standards the same for everybody, just jacked beyond belief.
Well, like if they're a soldier, like, absolutely, right? Because they're fucking fighting all the time. So of course they should look like that.
But even like just the stuff that could be similar in that time frame, like her hair, right? Her hair has changed a lot.
It has.
They just draw it different. So I wouldn't be surprised if even if we got like a version of her that is presumably more muscular or getting closer to how she was when she was fighting all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up being a little more slim, but I would hope that they like re-add enough of the muscle to make it good.
Yeah, part of me was wondering if maybe the reason I noticed it was I feel bad. What's the guy who took over's name? It's the same. It's KM. It's the same initials.
I can't remember, but his close friend, right? Like
yeah.
Who knew the
I'm trying to look it up because I feel bad, but I was just wondering if maybe it's like, was this like a style thing where he just draws her differently, and that's why I'm noticing it, or like, is it? And then I like looked back at more of Mira's stuff, and as Elaine, she still was like more slender-ish than before, so it might have just been he got like better at drawing. He just had a different style, something.
His name is Koji Mori.
Koji Mori. You're right.
Koji? K-O-U.
Yeah, Koji Mori. That sounds right. Yeah. Okay. So like I was just wondering, is this Mori's style? And like there are ways he does faces, especially like face shapes, that is quite different, I would say. And also he doesn't do as many crazy lines everywhere for everything. But for the most part, I think it's actually like pretty clean in the way that I would want and expect it.
Yeah. Well, and it's a lot of Mira's studio doing it too, right? Studio Gaga or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I think I do think there's less insane detail, even though we haven't had like any crazy shots that there would be an insane amount of detail. But that's I think that's just like a directive choice, maybe directing the creative stuff. Like we don't need to go super insane.
Sure. Yeah.
Mira fucking worked himself to death. Maybe we can take a break.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I checked out, I can't even remember the name of it now. Studio Gaga, like some of the, I think at the time, like apprentices or something, they did their own manga. And it was kind of like almost like a test run of like, how can they do on their own, like just drawing and all that stuff. It was really fucking good. Like they were doing really good work. It didn't get continued, but like I think there was like 3 issues or 1 volume or 3 volumes or something like that. But like all the detail and stuff, and I think I read that after Mira died, and I was like, if they continue it, the art's gonna be fine. If they just let the studio do it.
And then at some point, like when you're the creator of something that gets big, it's not you doing the actual work anymore. It's you directing people on how your vision is and making them do it. So it makes sense that like a lot of them would just have that style, or maybe just change things, look a little bit differently because it's not Mira's eye anymore telling them what to do or like what to change. It's somebody else's. So it's going to look different, but not like drastically, I don't think.
It's not Mira asking why they didn't draw the individual soldiers on the 10,000 strong army across 2 pages.
I mean, yeah. Well, it's funny you bring that up. There's very few 2-page crazy scenes, even though like some crazy shit happened.
Yeah, we don't really get
the early
anything.
chapters. Yeah. So I wonder if that was kind of a Mira thing. It's like, no, this is a big thing that's happening. You have to do a 2-page spread of like
and do all
Guts and Griffith
details.
facing each other or something.
Guts and Griffith making out hardcore.
Yeah. Well, you gotta save something for the end.
That's our ending. Yeah.
This is the final panel. Anyways, Casca is in a dress in a palace or whatever and being served to by maids, they tell her like we gotta go or whatever. So they start walking through the palace. She sees the tree, the helix tree or something like that.
Yeah, they call it the helix tree or the
Which
world
makes sense.
tree.
The world tree, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they say something about there's Griffith is going out on another campaign, and they say something about the Band of the Falcon, and that causes Casca to like start breaking down in tears, and I think that's kind of what like starts breaking her from whatever spell is going on, like not actual spell, but like something that's going on in her mind, maybe thinking this is like where she
definitely
belongs.
Thinks it. Yeah, it's definitely like she thinks this is what is normal, or like this is her life, because she wakes, even that first shot, she's like it was just a dream or something,
right? So, and that like this is her reality or something.
Yeah. No, and then she sees that, and that's like she fucking grabs the sword from the dude.
Yeah.
She starts fighting people. I forget if it's after that or if it's before this, but when she's in the bathtub.
It's before. Like, that's what breaks her of the spell completely.
Yeah, she gets there's like a water droplet, and in the water droplet she sees like the kind of the party, right? Like her and Guts and like Shirka and stuff. It's always fucking water, dude.
So
like it's like some
how do you interpret
shit.
this? Like, why does she see that? Because she's not a mage. She doesn't have like ties to the ethereal realm.
Yeah, I mean, probably just like the idea of it being, and if like stuff is an illusion, or if she's being, controlled, spelled, something, because that all kind of ties in. It ties into like that same power in a way, right? It's either like the magic stuff like Shirke's using, or it's like demon shit. So kind of either way, it's like, I don't know, you could probably take it as like a reflection, right? Like water is kind of how it's been before, except in this case a little more literally. Like water is, Mira's always using water to show the truth of stuff, right?
Yeah, because so water, I think in like most things like religions and stuff, it's purity, right?
Yeah, purity.
So like it makes sense.
I mean, even the thing I said, like Constantine, right? Like it's like highly transitive or whatever, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, in this case, like she's just literally seeing the like a tiny fraction of the truth or something, or a little bit of a memory or whatever. Yeah. Like the spell, almost like the spell doesn't like affect like the reflection in the water or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
fucking
weird.
Cool though.
It's cool. And then she like, there's like the final scene we get of her in this volume is her like going to sleep in a bed. So I'm almost wondering, is this like a dream thing that like, or is this like actually a spell of some sort that she's under? Like, I can't remember. What does Sonia do? I know she's a seer, but is she able to like mess with people's minds?
I don't think it would be her. I'm assuming it's Griffith, just like straight up. But that's also just because like he seems kind of like a Mary Stu at this point. Like you can just do fucking whatever.
Yeah, you're right, because part of why Falcone even started was everybody had the dream of the White Falcon or whatever. So like, or the Falcon of Light or whatever. So like, we know that there is some transitive properties he has in his like odd or himself or whatever, where he can kind of infect dreams, or at least his like presence in the ethereal realm bleeds into people's dreams. So I mean, it could be that.
Yeah, it like bleeds into that. There's also the thing I compare it to is like there's a Arthur C. Clarke novel, Childhood's End, and there's I don't think it's that spoilery. It happens like in the fucking beginning, but aliens come to Earth, and an alien, like, they don't reveal themselves for the longest time. They just help out and do shit and whatever. And then after they've been here for like 60 years and people are used to them, They reveal themselves, and they're the exact like stereotypical like devil image, like goat hooves, leathery wings, fucking spiked tail, the horns, like the whole fucking 9 yards. And there's this kind of idea in it of like, why have we been drawing you for thousands of years? And it was something like they had been here and tried civilization or whatever, and then had to start over. Everything got destroyed. But despite the fact that like they restarted humanity, like there was something with like, it gets a little into like, is it genetic memory, is it spiritual memory, but like this event was so strong that it kind of fucked the timeline. Like it's a memory, but also it's a prophecy kind of thing. So
sure,
that's kind of what I think of like with the Falcon of Light stuff. Like it's such a big thing that normal people are getting prophetic visions or whatever, or something like that.
Sure.
So
no,
yeah,
that makes
just that
sense.
idea of like he's such a force, and such a both a force and a presence that like shit warps around him.
Yeah. I mean, the part that makes me think it was a spell and not just dream funkiness is the fact that she kind of wakes up and like maybe thinks this seems like a little weird or whatever, but kind of goes with like, no, like I'm a queen. Like this is my daily life. I get dressed and we go walk or whatever. And like, it's little by little, it's the like mention of the band of the Falcon that starts her like crying. Like it starts breaking, right? There's like a shatter or something. And then she's talking or hanging out with the children out in the field, shatters a little bit more. Then in the bathtub, she sees the thing and it completely breaks. And that's when she kind of like grabs the sword and attacks the guards or whatever. Like, so I think it's like her breaking out of this like weird mind thing that's going on, but I'm not really sure what it's from because we haven't really seen, I guess, that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten like anything about it.
Weird.
You would think like coming in hot, we're gonna see like her and Griffith interact.
Yeah.
You would think.
Right, exactly.
But you know what
and you don't.
They do say in this, the person says to Griffith like the bird is back in its cage. We do.
You're right.
Get that.
The hunter guy, the bow guy says that.
Yeah. Which is like,
that's even weirder because he's not like a mage. So
I think just like they got someone keeping her under a spell a bit to keep her chill. But it's so much more fucked. Like Griffith couldn't just fucking leave her alone. He had to fucking take her just to like, it'd be different if he was trying to like redo the connection they had, right? Like try to fucking force that, like the friendship, and like wants her to be in like in partial command of the band of the Falcon or whatever.
There's
like
definitely
with what's
something
his name
there.
Who's the band of the Hog member that fucking slaps him? I forget. Is that Roderick?
Roderick is the captain.
Oh right, that's the
captain.
Ship. Who am I fucking?
There was Judo.
Who it is. Well, Judo's dead.
Dead. Oh, the one that's
kid.
alive. It's Reichert or whatever.
Reichert, right? Yeah. Because like it seems like Griffith sort of, with him, he kind of wanted that same thing, right? He like wanted this. He wanted to like fucking have his cake and eat it too. He wanted all this new bullshit, but he also wanted this member of his past to resume that role. And
it has to be an ego control thing, right? The reason, because if you remember, the thing that really starts him like down this weird path was when Guts is like, I need to do my own thing. It's like, okay, he no longer has control over Guts. Casca no longer is obsessed with him because she loves Guts now. Like he lost control over everybody, and I think this is his weird way of trying to get it back.
Yeah, I mean his the start of it all is Guts leaving.
Yeah.
and then like the thing that fully fucking breaks him after they rescue him is him seeing Casca and Guts
together
being very close, and then that just like then the eclipse happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I feel like we're gonna have to see him and Casca interact at some point, which will almost feel better because like him just having her fucking locked up and not interacting feels so much worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she's just a fucking trophy or something.
Yeah. Everything about it pisses me off. But Casca is like, she had her kind of own adventure for like 6-7 pages or something, which is dope. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She did a thing for a while. And it wasn't just like her being there for Guts or something. Like, she was doing a thing, which is awesome. I hope I get more of it.
Dude, I hope we get some of her. Like, I hope we get her solving this issue, right? Like,
that'd be pretty
I want
sick.
her to fucking like fight her way out of it or something. Even if there's like a bit of like her going along with Griffith in some way, like learning
to like backstab him or something.
Yeah, or
classic
just,
woman move for sure.
Yeah, fucking tell me about it. But like I could see it. Just the only reason I bring it up is because it's like an easy avenue to get her to like train again, right? Get her up to strength and stuff. And I'm like, I just want that to happen so she can kick people's asses.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would love to see more of her. Also, the way, so like I want Guts to get revenge on Griffith, but honestly, if like there was somebody else to do it, it has to be Casca, right?
Oh, totally.
Like maybe even more so.
Yeah, I think she deserves it more than Guts does.
Yeah, like directly on Griffith or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Femto, whatever. It's kind of weird because Femto like doesn't exist as the God Hand anymore, like because he's Griffith again. So like, yeah,
we're in a weird space with that.
Like,
I still don't.
What's going on with that?
There's like so much shit that it just like, I don't know, man. It feels kind of like some like really dense classic literature, right? Like,
yeah,
you just gotta fucking leave. Like, we're gonna do this, and then it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I mean, maybe later we'll get like fucking solid answers, but I'm not really counting on it.
Yeah, I'm not either, really. And like in a world of magic, you don't really need it because they could just hand wave some of this shit away if they wanted to.
Oh, totally. Like any of is whatever. And I think it really is also like ultimately it's Femto doing whatever the fuck he wants as a member of the God Hand, right? Like we've seen at least I forget what her name is, the one chick on the God Hand. Like she was on Earth doing whatever the hell.
Slan or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. She animated herself as an avatar of like Guts or whatever that were on the ground. That was disgusting.
But so I think it's probably something equivalent to that. Like
do you think the like energy that they see in like the ethereal world is Femto?
Yeah, maybe. Especially like
Griffith is like his humanoid like avatar.
It's just a shell or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I feel like I don't think we've gotten it before that it would like a comparison to be made, but like if Shirke saw Femto or Griffith as he is now versus 30 chapters ago or volumes ago or whatever, I feel like it'd be the same. Like just this dark, I feel like that dark entity would be roughly the same thing.
Sure, yeah. I don't think we've had anybody that can see
look at him.
Yeah, in like that realm or whatever, because Shirke's kind of only been our only real. No, wait, Sonia might have, but like maybe it's because she sees him differently every time he does the like this like the soul thing, the like dead souls, he like sends them to the afterlife or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe she sees them differently or something, but I don't know. It's weird.
I think, I mean, and that's been like the whole deal for him since starting Falconia, right? Is like,
yeah,
he wants all this because he still has his fucking dream of things that he wants, and like is creating this world of order and light and blah blah blah. But like, even if he's doing good stuff and making good things happen, it's all like the engine driving it is all just evil. Like,
yes,
he's doing like, he's still powered by fucking pure darkness.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. We'll get answers at some point.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility to that at some point we find out that like he's not evil anymore, and then fucking Guts has to contend with that or something. I don't know. It's very open.
I hope at some point there's like a moment where Guts realizes that he can just let it go, and just because that's life, right? Like there's always something bad, and like there's always something to be mad about, and the only time you can ever win is to just let it go. So like, I wonder if there's going to be like a moment where Guts is just like, no, I'm done. Like if you want Casca or whatever, and she's like, all right, she can handle herself, fine, I'm done. I'm just gonna go berserk by myself.
This whole thing is gonna turn like Guts is finally gonna get, the showdown's gonna happen. Guts is gonna get like fed up, and they're like, all this shit's gonna happen. It's just gonna accumulate into Guts being like, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry I left, and then everything's gonna get like real sparkly, and like all of the evil shit that Griffith has done is gonna like melt away.
And what would you do if the ending of everything was just like the tropey, like there is a showdown and Guts like throws his sword down, lets Griffith kill him completely, and that's like what turns public opinion against Griffith, and he loses everything. Just like, this is such like a basic bitch ending.
I wouldn't like that at all.
I mean, it would be the first time that he stopped struggling. Just let it happen. I don't think Griffith even wants to kill him because he could have.
Yeah, I mean, early on in the eclipse, right? It's all like, I think it's purely just motivated by like, you're gonna suffer, and that's better for me. I don't think we're getting into elements of like, there's like a last shred of humanity or something that Griffith feels for Guts, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got into that at some point. Like,
yeah, there were a lot of complicated feelings with that relationship.
Like, especially since we sort of have Griffith as like the at least partial manifestation of the weird fetus thing that is part Casca.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, part of this is because I've been like binge reading a shitload of manga lately, and one of the actually Inuyasha, that's a huge thing for the antagonist, is like he's a demon who came from a human, and like the fucking humanity in him keeps getting in the way of his machinations. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got to something like that.
Do you think there's humanity in Griffith though?
I mean, like, he has the child, right? Like, if they lean into that element of it.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that child, because the way I read
back?
into it, the way it ended was that the child was basically just a homing beacon to consistently find Casca, and then when he did, he turned into Griffith, and it's like, okay, thanks, and then he left.
Yeah, I got no idea, dude.
I hope Griffith they do more with it.
Griffith also mentioned something about like being that child, like having memory, kind of in the same, like having memories of it, kind of the same way that Casca says she has memories of being Elaine.
Right.
I hope they do more with him too, because like, it'd be more interesting to keep him going.
Something for a reread that I won't do because have other things on the horizon I want to get to. But like, if I was to reread this, I would want to pay close attention. Every time the Moonlight Child shows up with a party, is like Griffith doing anything in the same like volume? Like, is that him kind of hanging out with them?
Yeah, I would have to go and look. I don't remember offhand.
Because that would be kind of wild. That's one of those things I think that, like, if it played out the way I think it might have played out, like, you know how when you watch Fight Club and like you rewatch it, that ending makes sense the whole time. You just didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, every time the Moonlight Child was going, was there like a panel like 3 chapters earlier saying Griffith saying like, I'll be back later, and then like we don't see him again? Like, like, is there that going on?
I don't think so. I want to say that there's that, like, he's doing stuff, but we don't. I don't actually remember offhand. But it's just, I'm mostly saying that just because he's doing so much. Like, when he's establishing Falconia and stuff, like, he's pretty active.
Yeah, but I feel like he mentions the moon a few times though, and probably. Now I'm wondering. Yeah. Weird. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going on with Casca. This kind of ends with them saying the East, because they're going to attack the Kushan or whatever as their next conquest.
Yeah, and then we get that's like the Kushan attack the ship. Is like our final thing.
The Kushan attack the ship while Shirkei's doing the Dragon Road. Yeah, the right or whatever.
She's on the Dragon Road, the fucking coolest thing of all time.
And it's basically just her like putting herself out into like the land of the dead or whatever, the ethereal realm, in like a foghorn style to try to like find Casca, basically.
Yeah, to find where she is. Dude, there's a small line they have that's so fucking good just because it's cool as hell. It's like she's going to they say something about like she's going to the realm of the dead, or someone asks if she's going to the realm of the dead, or someone says she's going there, and then it's like, no, she's going beyond that. I'm like, that's so fucking cool.
Oh yeah, like even like deeper than that. That's crazy.
Like, we're not going to like the afterlife. We're going farther than the afterlife. It's like, that's fucking neat because it's so vague.
Yeah, no, it's very, very cool. So that's kind of where that all ends. Just as a quick reminder for when because I'm sure this is coming up. Everything's kind of like coming back to the Kushan, where that's where Reichert went to see if with the prince guy or whatever, the dude, to see if they could get reinforcements to try to take out Falconia. That's kind of the last bastion, the last attempt that he tried or whatever that they're going to try. So this is kind of leading up to the whole party's going to be together again with the East, and there's going to be a war, obviously, with like all the party members probably involved in some way, or maybe even doing a like special op while the war's happening. I could also see that happening.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so that's where I think it's leading to, because I guess like predictions or whatever, it makes sense to me that they're going to meet up with Reichert again, and maybe like this seems really bad because the Kushan are like acting like pirates. They're throwing them all like down and taking the ship over. They have their weapons out, but I think it's going to be one of those like situations of, hey, wait, they're with us, and then they're going to be like, this is the plan. We're going to try to kill Griffith or whatever. Like, I think it's going to end up being an okay thing in a chapter or two.
Yeah. No, I could see something like that. Yeah, you think they're bad, and then they say we want to kill Griffith, and then Guts comes out of the shadows and he says, well, I guess it's Berserk in time.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be your Huckleberry.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, it's funny because like literally the last panel of this volume is Guts just like on the floor, face down. So it's just funny to think that it's like all our hopes rest on this guy. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Oh yeah, I'm excited though. This I have to say this volume is kind of a letdown coming off of like maybe one of the best volumes in the series, but I don't think you could have done much to really keep it going. 41 was so important. 40 and 41.
41 is crazy, dude. Yeah,
and like 40 was like them breaking Casca out of the spell, which was like fucking awesome too. Like it was so strong. And then this was just like, you know that thing that you love? It's gone again.
Yeah, dude. It's so fucking just not even a 1 volume turnaround to be like, she's gone.
Yeah. No, it's really, really rough. It hurts. But it makes me excited to read more. I guess that's like the last thing I'll talk about here specific to the podcast thing, like meta stuff, is that going forward, if possible, we'll try to do every single chapter as they come out and are translated into English. Fan translations are usually pretty quick turnaround when they drop. So
yeah,
it's not too bad. This ends on chapter 373. As of us talking right now, 374, 375, and 376 are out. So we'll take those one by one. Those will all be shorter podcasts because it's only one chapter we're talking about. So maybe even like 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to get through it.
Yeah, those will be pretty quick.
But going forward from there, like maybe I'm trying to think of like what else you can even do in the meantime. Maybe like I might read that the Studio Gaga thing you're talking about. Like we could talk about that. Maybe what else?
Yeah, that'd be great because I didn't get to talk about it with anyone.
Yeah, maybe jump into. My God, what's his name again? We just fucking said it. The dude that took over. Something Mori.
Koji Mori.
Yeah, Koji Mori. Maybe like see what else he's done and talk about like him and like his past or whatever. He's done a few things, but I guess Holy Land. I have heard of that. That's kind of one of the big ones he's done. Maybe I'll take a look into that and see if that's even worth talking about, but that might be interesting. We could talk about the anime, even though I don't really love the 97 anime. It has its ups and downs, but I think it misses a lot of the stuff I like from the manga from the Golden Age. So I didn't watch those movies yet.
Right? Yeah, I haven't watched the movies either on it. We didn't talk about the anime?
Not specifically. No. Damn. We've like made mention here and there of it, but we haven't done like a full podcast talking about any of the anime.
That's wild.
So maybe we do that, but those will be the thing I really want to focus on is like the manga stuff. So that the chapters will take precedence, so obviously, and then maybe we'll see what other stuff we could do. But there's enough Berserk out there to keep taking it in.
I should see if I can do there's that Band of the Hawk, like the Warriors genre game. Cause I couldn't, that was like, I bought it and then my PC died, but I got a Steam Deck, so I should see if the Steam Deck can run that.
Yeah, I mean if you can get the emulator for the what the hell is it called? Sword of the Berserk, the Dreamcast game, play through that. That's a one-nighter. We could talk about that because I've played through that.
Yeah, I got all the emulator stuff set up, so I just need to like pop in it. I can just toss in the legally dumped game, and that's fine.
I have it. I have that. I can just send it to you.
Nice.
As long as there's no weird like region problems or whatever, it should work. There shouldn't be. I don't think the Dreamcast had that really. I don't remember.
Anything just works.
But yeah, we could talk about that. I got to get back to that PS2 game, which is awesome but weird. But like, I want to play more of that. We could talk about the Muso game. which would probably be more just like fucking around more than anything, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't have any story stuff tied to it, where sort of the Berserk does. It has like almost like a side thing that happens when Guts and Elaine at the time go somewhere. I can't remember if they had just met Isidro. Like, it's early on, but it's like a story that apparently is canon for what it's worth. So it's worth talking about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's stuff. Shit. There's stuff to do. Yeah, that's it for me, though. Do you have anything to add about this this volume, chapter, whatever?
No, I think we got all of it for this volume.
Yeah, it's kind of weird getting back in the swing of things, because again, it's like this series ended in 2023, at the beginning of 2023, and it just this year in 2024 went up on YouTube. So
yeah, oh, that's a
weird
big leg.
Yeah, it took a long time to get there. And I remember too starting this because I really wanted to get into Berserk, and I have to say that mission accomplished. After like, I think volume maybe 20-ish, whatever the Lost Children chapter was, like after that, with like the weird bug people and the children all being thrown into like the barn and set on fire, and just like by that point I was like, I'm so fucking invested in this series, it's disgusting. Like, it was a problem that I had to stop reading every week or whatever to do the podcast, because I just wanted to keep going every time.
Dude, it was so fucking funny, like, rereading stuff for the podcast initially, because I just reread the whole fucking thing. And then within the last 2 years, there was something I couldn't remember, or like I read one of the chapters at probably one of the ones that we talked about today that was fan translated, and I couldn't remember like what someone's deal was. So I like read the last volume, and that didn't really help. And I'm like, well, I'll just go back farther. I'm like, wait, I don't remember this thing. I read the whole fucking series again. Like, and it's so easy every time, because like you just fly through it because it's so good.
And it's so easy because a lot of the really cool stuff is just visual.
Yeah, like the 20 pages of Casca and the Eclipse.
Like, yeah. I was thinking to myself when we were really starting this, that like this is going to be kind of hard to talk about, because we don't have like a video feed or anything. We're not showing screens of anything. And like everything that's really cool is the visual style of everything. That's kind of why at the very beginning I liked to specifically call out like different things that I thought were neat in like visual stuff that were done, and kind of describe that in detail. Because if you're not reading it, or you haven't read it and you're listening, like, I want to try to sell you on how cool this looks, so maybe you go buy it, because it's fucking awesome. Every scene was pretty cool, and the fact that like Mira did all that kind of by himself at the beginning or whatever is insane to me.
It's still, even though at this point he would have been pretty established with the studio and stuff, but I think it's volume 37 when we get like all of the fucking, it's like the Elden Ring tree stuff, but then all of the giant monsters, and like the Kushan leader god whatever, like his bullshit. It's insane. That has to be one of the most insane fucking drawings, and it's like every fucking page, it's crazy, dude. And it's like, if you're not looking at it, it's so hard to describe why it's insane.
I remember that, there was that, I think it was around that time, like you said, there was the moment of literally made an in-universe reason why they can steal anything that they want, because every fantasy creature has now invaded the real world. That, like, basically they did the thing of, if it's ever been imagined, it exists, and now it's here, so they could literally do anything they want.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
And it's just so fucking much. And he drew all of it. Well, they drew all. They didn't leave anything out.
Yeah, ridiculous. No, it's crazy. Oh, what a series. I can't wait to get back into the Eastern people as well. Like that weird cloak guy, that Rakshasa guy or whatever, that's just like a mask and a cloak.
Yeah, dude. Oh, there's like a lot of cool shit with them. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's horrifying also, but like it's cool from a world building standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, as everything is. Also, what's important to say is that Volume 42 is apparently the official end of this chapter, the Elf Island chapter, which makes sense because Elf Island basically doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned that, but Elf Island fades into the ether or whatever. Yeah,
they just like completely disintegrate all the fantasy creatures. They kind of
do like a Celtic sort of deal, right? So like a
little bit.
Fae, the Fae have to leave the world or whatever. The world of men.
But I think they just die. Like
something. I think they just get. It's not. We don't know if they're leaving or if they're just like.
They get Thanos snapped out of existence.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. So Elf Island is done. Now starts the Eastern Exile chapter. Is the next one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a good name. Yep. It's better than Falconia. I hate that name so much. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode of Going Berserk. It's been about a year and a half worth of time coming. So thank you for listening, and thank you for joining again. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. This is a good time.
Yeah, it's weird doing it again.
Yeah.
And we'll be back again soon for chapter, what is it again? 374?
Yes. Yep.
So that's the homework, I guess. Read chapter 374 and we'll talk about it next time. Take care and we'll see you then.
Peace.